Okay, welcome to the council update from the October 11th meeting. We're going to try to get back into a regular scheduled programming with this, but the first thing we had was two delegations. First one being from the November Purple Ribbon campaign. This is from the Rowan House Emergency Shelter, and Ali Cram came and just gave us an update on the extent of domestic violence in our society, in our town, in our province. And it's nothing to be ignored at all. And I'm not going to go into it because I don't know exactly enough about it. But you'll see the purple ribbons going downtown, and that's just to bring awareness to the issue and just so that people don't forget about it. So great thing. They've done it for the last few years, and now you'll see those ribbons going back up again. So second delegation was from Malcolm Richardson. He brought a proposal to us about backyard fire pits, and he would like to see them basically banned due to health concerns and how the smoke goes into neighboring properties and people with asthma and allergies, everything else. So he's just got concerns that he brought those to council, and council actually has a report that's coming from our fire department that they'll be presenting at the next meeting. Just more on this information, so we're not looking at making any rash decisions right now on it, but there'll be more information to come. So amendments to Spitzee Crossing Area Structure Plan. This was for the Highlands Neighborhood Outline Plan, and that's the one of the areas that's being developed first out in the Spitzee area crossing, and it's just on the first corner of Cole Trail there, just off to the northwest, I guess it would be. And this we've been dealing with for about a year now, and just rejigging things to make sure that we're happy with that development. And so this was just second, third reading to that to make those changes to their development. Another bylaw, the Community Vitality Fund Advisory Committee. So this all came from our last 2 years of experience dealing with our funding mechanisms for this community. There's two things. We've got people like the museum board, that's town-owned property. They and the memorial center. There's your two big ones that come. They come to us every year with their budget, with their scope, with what we're doing, and with their ask of how many dollars they need to function for the next year. That's an everyday thing, or an every year thing that pretty easy to go through. The problem that we had with it is on the other end, where there's smaller asks, much smaller asks, but the way it's set up, and we changed it the second year because the first year was really awkward, but it's a big bench of all our staff and us counselors sitting there, and then people coming and presenting and asking for money. If it's the museum board or the memorial center board coming, they've been through this gig 1,000 times and they know what to do, and it's pretty open. We all know each other. It's a pretty easy thing to deal with. But if it's one-offs, and I'll never forget that first year, we had a young girl come from the high school. She had never done this before. Most of us had never done this before. It was the most awkward thing I've ever done in my life, with having this young girl coming and basically begging us for money and sitting in front of a panel of judges that's going to grant you your $5,000. She was in tears over the whole thing. It was so intimidating, which is why we kind of changed the layout to make it a little bit better. But we wanted to take that a step further. So this is where the Community Vitality Fund Advisory Committee came. So when these smaller asks come in throughout the year, rather than coming to a council meeting to ask for the money, and rather coming to the the panel of judges for your money, they can go to this committee. The committee will have a budget that we've set for the amount of money that's in there that they can distribute through the year. And this committee can decipher, kind of be the first phase of discretionary thinking on who gets what. Then the final ask comes back to council, and we check off whatever the community advisory fund committee advisory community vitality thing. Whatever they're giving us, we say yes or no to it. This is working very similar to the lessons we learned through the CDAC program with all the flood money that we distributed. So same sort of process, much better for the community, and a little more comfortable for people when they're coming to ask us for money. So I love it. They've put it together fantastic, and away we go. That was about it. It was a pretty simple meeting. We did get some downtown and mitigation updates. Downtown construction. I know it's hell. It's construction, especially street construction, is a nightmare. We've been through this for 3 years. We combined phase 3 and 4 for this year to get it done so we wouldn't have to endure this for another year. That's why it's been so chaotic. I know it looks like there's pieces that have been tore up 3 times, and they haven't. It's just the process, and when you got to button one phase up for the winter, you got to put some pavement on it, and then you got to dig it up next year, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into the logistics of construction on this scale. This is massive stuff we're doing. So I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating for myself when I got to go between my home, my office, and the town office. There's chaos everywhere. McLeod Trail, 8th Avenue, and downtown, I get it all. So we're getting things finished up. It'll be done within the next 2-3 weeks. The major projects will be all done. There'll be some final touches on it next year. And away we go. We're back to normal stuff. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I know it's frustrating. I apologize for the inconvenience. This is extremely important stuff that we're putting together downtown for the future of this community for the next 50 to 100 years. So that's where that's at. Sorry, but we're pounding through and we're making sure that it's done and done right. So thank you for your cooperation and patience through this. So that's about it. Got any questions? Let me know. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.